Hi team, this week I'm going to try a different method for the tutorial. I'm going to be using an over-the-shoulder, if you like, look at Excel with me working it. I would like you to give me some sort of feedback as to whether you prefer this kind of recording tutorial or whether you prefer PowerPoint. You can start a video recording, obviously, less reading. It may well be that you prefer both, so I'd be glad of that feedback. Okay, today we're going to look at relative and absolute referencing. And I've already prepared my Excel worksheet, and you can just stop your video to copy this. Okay, I've just got some money values in here. The first thing I'll do is just change those to dollars, and the same with that one. I've got a percentage up here which I put in both cells. By the way, if you ever see this hash symbol here, what that means is there's more in the column than Excel can actually show. So if I drag that out, you'll see that that gets rid of the hash key. So don't think that you've done something wrong when you see that. Just widen out the column. Okay, I'm going to rename the sheet. I'm right mouse click and left mouse click rename. And I'm going to call this absolute referencing. Make sure I put the E in there. And by the way, while we're there, a worksheet comes with 3 sheets. If you ever want to add sheets, you can just add a sheet by clicking on that little button there with the sort of star symbol there. Okay, and we can go back to our sheet there. This is a good way of actually putting in tasks, because you can put a task on each sheet and then upload the single file rather than uploading 4 or 5 separate task files for Excel. So you can actually do your next task in this space here, and so on and so forth. Okay, relative and absolute cell referencing. Let's get on with that. What does it mean? Well, Excel actually works by standard means in a relative way, and I'm going to demonstrate that with this little example. If you gain an understanding from this example, then you will be able to transfer that knowledge into much bigger spreadsheets. Okay, so let's just do the thing. We want to calculate the interest here. So what we'll do is write in a formula. All formulas start with equals. Equals the contents of this cell here, which is B5, times. Remember, we use the asterisk key as a times. And then we click on this cell and it writes in C2, and we press enter and we get an answer, and that's quite correct. Okay, to save writing in the formula for each cell, a quick way is to actually use fill down. So I'm just going to go to the corner there and see it changes to a plus. Click my left mouse down, roll my mouse down, and it's filled down. But unfortunately, there's something gone wrong. Okay, well, let's have a look at what's gone wrong. Well, the first formula, let's just check that. B5 times C2. B5 times C2. That's quite correct. Let's have a look at the next one. B6 times C3. Well, it's gone down relative, so it's gone down to the next cell. That's correct. Equals B6 is fine. Times is still there. But then it's gone down to C3 because it's working in a relative way. But of course we wanted it to stay on C2, but it hasn't. And if we go down to the next one, we'll see that the relative bit has worked on this side, but in this column it's actually come down to this area. So effectively we're saying $3,000 times these words here, and of course it doesn't understand these words, they're not numbers, so it's asking for a value. And then the next one down, it's actually calculating 5,000 times this one here to actually work out the interest. So that's not very good either. I'll just widen that out. So we know we've got the wrong answers all the way down here. Okay, so how do we correct this? Well, we've got to tell Excel that even though we're working relative here, this is an absolute cell reference. We always want Excel to come back to this particular reference when doing this particular formula. Okay, this 1C2 cell reference. So if we click in here, okay, sorry, I should have said click into this part here, and we actually want to put a dollar symbol. Okay, so I'm going to put a dollar symbol, and by the way, it's got nothing to do with dollars. It's actually programming. It's a programming symbol in this particular case. So $C, $2, and basically what it's telling Excel is that this is an absolute cell reference, and we always want to refer to that. So now I press enter, and we've got the correct answer. But now when I roll my mouse down, okay, everything comes correct. Okay, 10% of $5,000 is $500. 10% of $3,000 is $300. Notice that we've now got B5 times C2, B6 times C2, B7 times C2 with the absolute reference dollar symbols there, B8 times CT. So it's always going back to that C2 reference. And so there we go. Okay, now to finish this off, all we've got to do is actually put in equals that plus, and I better change that to a plus rather than an equals. Okay, this one, and press enter, and we've now got the correct answer there. This one we're not going to have any problems because all it's doing is actually working out adding these two sums together and giving us an answer. Okay, by the way, now we've set this up, we can actually change that to 5%, for instance, and it will recalculate. Okay, and that's what we want Excel to do. We want it to do all the work for us. Okay, so why have I got this one on this side here then? Well, we can actually do it in a different way. We can instead of putting the dollar symbols, we can actually click into H2 this time, and we can actually highlight H2, and write in the word interest. Okay, and press enter. And now we'll see something different happen here. When you actually write in a name a cell like this, and it's called the name box, that part up there, as you can see, when we do that, we're actually turning it automatically into an absolute reference. So this time we haven't got to muck around. We can go equals this one times, and we can click on that cell and it writes in the word interest, and when we press enter we get the correct answer. And now when we roll that down we get the correct answer. And now all we've got to do is add these two together, equals that plus that, press enter. Okay, and we can actually roll that down. And so you can see that's a very quick way of doing it. The only thing with naming a cell like that is it's quite hard to sort of delete. So, but in a case like this, we don't want it to delete it. We always want it to work in this way. And as you can see, the calculation itself, it puts in G5 times the interest, G6 times the interest, which also is probably a really good way of understanding it. So that's absolute cell referencing, and it's really important if you want a formula to come back to a single cell each time. If you don't do the absolute referencing, either using the dollar symbol or naming the cell, then you're going to have problems within your spreadsheet. Okay, thanks very much for your attention. I'm just going to stop the video now and catch you on the next task.